Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that the video is going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine as you can see. Kisumu is fantastic, and maybe you could also let me know where you're watching the video from. The county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to talk about yesterday's protest, the Nane Nane. And I want to ask you about your opinion. Was it a flop or was it a success? I've been going through comments online and I'm coming to the conclusion that there are those who believe that the event was a huge success. And also there are those who believe that the event was a flop. As for me, I strongly believe that the event did not achieve the objective it was intended to achieve. And I want to take you back to June 25th. On that particular day, the Gen Zs in the Republic of Kenya staged one of the most successful protests ever in the Republic of Kenya. On that day, they occupied Parliament. And of course, ahead of the occupation, they were very clear on what they wanted to achieve. All their banners had a clear message: occupy Parliament. Because on that day, Parliament was supposed to vote for the finance bill. And indeed, they voted for the finance bill, which majority of Kenyans were against. Nobody, including the president, imagined that the Gen Zs would actually go ahead and occupy Parliament. So they occupied Parliament. And I remember William Ruto getting shocked during his press statement.
Today, Kenya experienced an unprecedented attack on its democracy, rule of law, and the integrity of its constitutional institutions. An otherwise legitimate expression of the fundamental rights and freedoms of assembly, demonstration, picketing, and petitioning of public authorities by a section of law-abiding citizens of the Republic of Kenya was infiltrated and hijacked by a group of organized criminals. Most regrettably, today's attack on Kenya's constitutional order has resulted in the loss of lives, also destruction of property and desecration of institutions and emblems of our sovereignty. Today's events mark a critical turning point on how we respond to grave threats to our national security. I assure the nation that the government has mobilized all resources at the nation's disposal to ensure that a situation of this nature will not recur again.
Then after successful occupation of Parliament, the Gen Zs then now started targeting State House. So they came up with Occupy State House. And the Kenyans were like, will they succeed in occupying State House? They never occupied State House. And after the failure to occupy State House, majority of Kenyans, including myself, started advising the Gen Zs to change tact. But the truth is, they would not listen to anybody. But the fact is, in war, you must always plan from the beginning to the end. The initial plan for the Gen Zs was to occupy Parliament, which they achieved. At the moment they achieved that, the government of William Ruto then started scheming on how to deal with the Gen Zs. And I want to reveal to you guys in this video how Raila Odinga and William Ruto handshake suppressed the Gen Z's protest yesterday. But before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. But again, before I dive in, allow me to also take this opportunity to introduce you guys to Lemfi. Lemfi is a mobile money app for users in the UK, Canada, and the United States of America to send money back to Kenya. They offer the best exchange rates, and the money will be delivered instantly into M-Pesa account, Airtel Money account, and of course, if you want, directly into your bank account. You can use the link in the pinned comment to download the app. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain to you guys how Raila Odinga, working very closely with William Ruto, managed to suppress the protest. Of course, I also know that the Gen Zs also committed several mistakes along the way. And I'm preserving another video to explain to you guys the mistakes which the Gen Zs committed that saw yesterday flop. When I talk of flopping, I simply mean that on the 25th day of June 2024, the entire country protested. Kisii protested, Busia protested, Bungoma. I remember a place like Bungoma where the speaker tried so hard to stop the protest. His people were really beaten up by the protesters. Coastal region and Mount Kenya actually exploded on that particular day. So yesterday, the protests were clearly confined to Nairobi. The truth is, Nairobi, there were no activities. And one thing you have to give to the agencies is that they can say, tomorrow ni maandamano and everything will stop. But you cannot compare yesterday's Nane Nane to the previous maandamanos. What strategy do you think Raila and Ruto used? The first strategy, which I think is Raila Odinga who advised William Ruto, is to meet the demands of the agencies. The moment Raila Odinga started working with William Ruto, and around that time, the protests were ongoing, a lot of supporters were actually hurt, maimed, and many were abducted, many were found dumped and eliminated. So Raila Odinga, I remember telling William Ruto that you must meet these demands for us to talk. One of the demands Raila Odinga issued, I just wish I could get that. One of the demands he placed on the table was that the release of those who were arrested, the compensation. He listed all those demands. Then William Ruto started implementing them. William Ruto immediately, I think after the parliament occupation, on that day when he addressed the nation, he said, we are withdrawing the bill. Because you see, the Gen Zs were very clear that we are rejecting the bill. William Ruto and the government were like, let us amend. They didn't want to hear anything. So William Ruto decided, let us withdraw the bill. The other demand was for the cabinet to be dissolved. What do you think William Ruto did? He dissolved the cabinet. The other demand was that they wanted William Ruto to engage them directly. They forced William Ruto as the president to X-Space, although that X-Space was manipulated, but he did that. And other things. So the moment William Ruto did that, then the agencies started now planning to occupy parliament. I can assure you, most people retreated because you wanted this guy to withdraw the finance bill. He did. You wanted this guy to dissolve cabinet. He did. You wanted him to come to X-Space. He did.
Walisema tusipitishe finance bill. Mimi nimewacha finance bill. Nikawaita wakanasema hawataki kuja kuzungumza na mimi. Wakaniambia niende huko kwa X. Mimi nikaenda kwa X. Wakatoroka huko hawakukuweko. Wakaniambia tuitishe mazungumzo. Nimeitisha mazungumzo, wamekataa. Nimewaambia wanaendelea kusema wao ni faceless, wao ni formless, sijui wako nini. Mimi nimewaambia sasa, my friends, you know, I have given a chance to everybody to say whatever they want. You know, it cannot continue like this. The country is much more important than any group of people. We must stand together as a nation, protect our nation, and make sure that Kenya is a democracy.
What were your interests? And that's why now the propaganda about certain interests kicked in and people bought. For example, in Raila Odinga strongholds, people started like, we should not be fighting a war which is not ours. That the war was between Rigathi and William Ruto, and that Rigathi Gachagua was using now the GNCs through infiltration to remove William Ruto, and that's why he was pushing very hard for the GNCs to go to the street. The truth is, the moment William Ruto met those few demands, that's when most Kenyans now started slowing down. It was because of the working relationship with Raila Odinga. Number two, William Ruto and the government of Kenya then decided to officially submit Raila Odinga's bid for the chairmanship of the African Union Commission. When William Ruto did that, most people did not understand what William Ruto was doing. William Ruto knew that for Raila Odinga to succeed in Africa, for him to be respected, he must be able to solve local issues. Raila Odinga was now then expected to be a diplomat, not an activist, which meant Raila Odinga had to change even the way he was addressing people, he was handling the situation in Kenya. And most people thought that or believed that Raila Odinga had the capacity to stop the demonstrations. And the Gen Zs also did not really want Raila Odinga to be part of the protest because they believed that if Raila Odinga joined, Raila Odinga was going to take credit. So Raila Odinga waited and figured out that between AU and this, where do I stand? Raila Odinga picked AU. The moment Raila Odinga picked AU and the government submitted his name, I can assure you that's the day most of Azimio supporters, let me be very specific, most of ODM supporters said they don't want demonstration. So before Nane Nane, the last demonstration, in Nyanza, for example, the only place where there were demonstrations was in Migori. The rest, quiet. Kisumu, just a bit of it. A bit of it. So that also worked magic. And in fact, it confirms that Raila Odinga is still a factor, which most of you guys, I'm reading comments, people are saying, oh, Raila Aisha. The truth is, Raila has followers. He's unlike other political parties who have supporters. He has followers who will always listen to what he's saying. Number three is actually when William Ruto now decided to officially incorporate ODM members into cabinet. And William Ruto went for top cream. Joho, deputy party leader, Oparanya, deputy party leader. And then went Badi, the national chairman, and Wandai, the minority leader. ODM then felt that us, we are now part of government. That William Ruto is kicking out Rigathi Gachagua allies, and we're now joining government. So ODM, which was forming the bulk of the demonstrators, because let's face it, the demonstrations has always been pioneered or led by ODM supporters. Kisumu, Nairobi, you can count Mathare, you can count Kibra, you can count those places. You go to Coastal Region, you go to Kisii, you go to Western Kenya, of course within Azimio, you go to Kambani. So that appointment slowed down the tempos. And that's why you would listen to very funny comments from Raila Odinga supporters. And lastly, the Rigathi Gachagua factor. You see, William Ruto, or maybe the intelligence, did something which I think saved William Ruto. The intelligence came up with a propaganda, a very simple propaganda, that William Ruto is definitely going to be removed. The Gen Zs has that capacity. They will remove William Ruto. But who takes over? Rigathi Gachagua. But to Raila Odinga supporters, they would rather have William Ruto as the president and not Rigathi Gachagua as the president. So they said, okay, if Vita, apana, we are not going to go into this war. Because if you remove Ruto, who takes over? Rigathi. And that's how some of Raila Odinga supporters then started slowing down. The truth of the matter is that this Gen Z protest has ended largely because Raila Odinga supporters decided to stand down. You take that, you leave it, but that's the truth. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.